Disclaimer: everything that is discussed, posted is strictly for educational and historical purposes only. It does not promote nor condone illegal activities. Rebels GRCH Shady Lady 5XWPOR. Before we begin our review on Grand Champion, Shady Lady, let's talk just a little about the one they called the Rebel. Let's talk about the Rebel long before the troubles came about that tarnished the fraternity and tainted his own legacy. To those who actually knew him, you could say he was a true dogman at the height of his game. It has been said, and rightfully so, that Ricky Jones, the Rebel, owned some of the best dogs in the world. In his time, if the Rebel was not competing one of the best dogs in the world, he was standing 16 feet across from one. He was a man dedicated to his dogs and a firm believer in the Eli strain of dogs. You could not convince him that any other bloodline was better, but you were always more than welcome to try in the box. During the development of his reputation and his own legacy, Ricky Jones owned such great dogs as Grand Champion Spooky, Grand Champion Samson, Grand Champion Sandman, Grand Champion Outlaw, Champion Stefano, Champion Cleopatra, Champion Penny, Champion Bubba, Champion Turtle, and even bought Mountain Man's Champion Homer to further enhance his yard. For those who do not know, he also owned half-interest and campaigned the Great Double Grand Champion Tornado. He owned and campaigned many other great dogs, far too numerous to mention them all. In the year of 1988 alone, the Rebel campaigned 24 dogs. He lost 5 of those 24 and won 19. Who can forget the classic battle between the two Grand Champions of Rebel Kennels, Grand Champion Sandman and STP's Grand Champion Buck? I wonder how many fanciers of today would even take a chance on bringing out their own champions or Grand Champions for a defending title match. Any modern-day fancier would be well served to compare the record of the Rebel to anyone during the same time period. In fact, compare it to anyone from any time period and see how it stacks up. Ricky Jones was noted for having, for lack of a better description, a split personality. On one side he was a great, fiercely loyal friend. However, once he stepped inside that box with his dog, well, he became a fierce and formidable opponent. There were many that described his actions as unsportsmanlike conduct. The Rebel did not see it that way at all. He stated that a man and his dog were a team and had to work as one. While his dog did what they could do to discourage their own opponent, Ricky Jones felt that it was his responsibility to do all he could do within the rules to discourage the other handler. He stated that, in his experience, a dog will quit the very second his handler does. Nevertheless, the Rebel became known in history as one of the greatest competitors of his era. It is a fact that it was the Rebel that added to the history books great dogs such as Grand Champion Sandman and Double Grand Champion Tornado. Many stories have been told and written about these two great dogs, but none to my knowledge has ever been told or written about the great female that holds her own records in history. That female is none other than Rebel Kennels Grand Champion Shady Lady. Some fanciers have wondered what it was the Mountain Man and the Rebel must have been thinking or planning when the Mountain Man backed his famed Spider-Bite female up to Rebel's Sundance. They stated, whatever it was history in the making. Well, here is exactly the way it came about. A fancier by the name of Young had purchased Sundance directly from Mamie Lopace, the wife of the deceased J.R. Lopace. Sundance was an outstanding dog and the Mountain Man had already seen him in action a couple of different times. The Mountain Man stated that, without exception, Sundance was one of the most devastating stifle dogs he had ever witnessed. He liked the dog so much that he planned to buy him for himself. He told Ricky Jones about this great dog and worked out a deal with the Rebel to go buy the dog for him and either bring it to him or arrange to have it brought to him. Well, half of that happened. Ricky Jones did in fact go buy Sundance, but then he kept him for himself. The only option the Mountain Man had at that time, he took. He shipped Spider-Bite to Florida and had her bred to the two-time winner, at that time, Sundance. Now, the rest is history. The litter produced such great dogs as Harrogers, Lil Dumpling and Sheena, Mountain Man's Harrogers' famed stud dog Elwood and of course Shady Lady. Ricky Jones was known to be extremely hard on his dogs. Too hard, and unnecessarily hard, most fanciers would say. But he was who he was, and even though Ricky Jones was not a small man, his own ego was bigger than he was. Even at an early age, Shady Lady wasted no time at showing that she was more than ready to face most challengers. In the year of 1988, she won her first two professional competitions. It was at the early spring show in Florida in 1988 that Shady Lady made her debut. It was a three-card show that also included Rebel Kennels and Ken Allen's grand champion Tornado winning her sixth straight contest. This won over Perry and Divine's two-time winner Amy. However, that day Rebel Kennels' Shady Lady would be going for her first contest. She would face off to Mossel's Carmen. These females weighed in at 37 pounds with Havana Chico selected as the referee. Shady Lady was sired by Rebel Kennels champion Sundance and whelped by the Mountain Man Spider by Tim, the sister to Rebel Kennels' own champion Spooky. One of the later reports listed Carmen as being campaigned by Red Kennels and Mossel's Carmen, not just Mossel. However, in either case, Mossel's Carmen was a red female that stems from some of Anderson's champion Tonka breeding that came by way of Lamanic. Upon release, Shady Lady jumps off to a very fast start and Carmen was never even in this fight. Fast handles are made and Carmen will not run her first scratch at the 4-minute mark and Shady Lady is declared the winner. It was at a 5-card show later that fall in 1988 that the ticket would read Red Kennels, Nantucket versus Rebel Kennels. Shady Lady, the females weighed in at 37.5 pounds and the Tennessean was selected to referee this contest. Nantucket was a nice-looking buckskin, said to be sired by Little Jeep Jeep, ex-Kate whelped by a kingfish-bred female. Evidently Red Kennels did not take their 4-minute loss with Mossel's Carmen very well. As recorded, this one did last longer. Once again, upon release Shady Lady comes out hard and fast, Nantucket leave the pit at the 11-minute mark and Shady Lady is declared the winner of her second professional contest. This was the same show that Rebel Kennels Samson and his littermate sister Dolly both won Best of Show awards. Samson Best of Show, Dolly Best Female. By the end of 1988, word had spread far and wide about this hard-mouthed female by the name of Shady Lady. Most fanciers thought that was all she was, a hard-mouthed female. By this time, there were a lot of fanciers determined to stop her. It was at the Palmetto show in the spring of 1989 that the ticket would now read Rebel Kennels and B.'s Shady Lady facing off to Gilbert and Bert, Bolita. Havana Danny was selected to be the referee for this contest, as the females weighed in at 37 pounds. Bert is handling Bolita. Bolita is sired by Kong and nothing has ever stayed with her more than 18 minutes. Upon release, Bolita comes out hard and shows that she can bite. She almost immediately hits a bleeder on Shady Lady. In spite of a very bad bleeder, Shady Lady stays all over Bolita and proves that she has a bite of her own. Bert concedes the contest and picks up on Bolita at the 9-minute mark, leaving Shady Lady to be declared the winner and now champion. Out of a 3-card show, Rebel Kennels' Shady Lady was voted Best in Show. At the Mountain Show, in 1989, Shady Lady would come out again. The word was out that she had won 3 matches, but all of them in very short order. This time she would face Reynolds Red. Shady Lady came in at a lower than usual weight, as these females now weighed in at 36.5 pounds. Any seasoned dogman can tell you what a difference a half a pound can make, even in a good dog. The Tennessean was once again the referee. Reynolds Red was sired by Pat Patrick's Copperhead. Upon the command to pit, Shady Lady came out so fast and hard herself that she never even gave Red a chance to close her mouth. Bulldozing over Red, Red turns and is on her way out at the 7-minute mark and Shady Lady is declared the winner of her 4th contest. Rebel Kennels' Shady Lady was voted Best Female of Show. It was at the 7-card Southern Fall show of 1989 that Shady Lady, now a 4-time winner, looking for her grand champion, would have to face Mooney's Ginger 2. Mooney's Ginger 2 is a black and white female sired by Holland's Pee Wee and whelped by Holland's Ginger. These females weighed in at 37.5 pounds and D. Miller was selected as the referee for this contest. Upon release, Shady Lady came out in her usual hard fast fashion and went straight to work. Shady Lady shot into the stifle and Ginger 2 never even had a chance to get started. She had no chance at all in this contest. Ginger 2 is picked up at the 8-minute mark and D. Miller declares Shady Lady the winner and now grand champion. Once again, out of a 7-card show, Shady Lady was voted Best Female of Show. That night Shady Lady was awarded her Grand Championship title. She had won all 5 professional contracted fight in a combined time of only 39 minutes. Her longest contest went only 11 minutes, and out of all 5 contests, she was voted best of show 3 different times. Surely that was a record, and truly history was made that night. Not so many fanciers were so anxious to rush out and try and stop her after that. After the rebel experienced his own problems, and all the trouble that followed after that, the fancier known as Bulldog P ended up with quite a few of the dogs that belonged to the rebel. Grand Champion Shady Lady was one of them. The legacy of Grand Champion Shady Lady lives on, as she produced a lot of great dogs for the fraternity. Those offspring also proved to be outstanding producers as well, especially when bred to James Crenshaw's Champion Gator. Bulldog P later sold Grand Champion Shady Lady at an old age to Roadblock Kennels, where she passed away and a legend passed into history. Anytime anyone is lucky enough to witness what they feel would be the highest levels of abilities, bite and stamina, Grand Champion Shady Lady should come to mind, and with whom they should base their own comparison, for she should be considered the highest of standards. Recalling history one more time, back in 1987 the Rebel lost his contest against the two-time winner Abraham's Queen of Heart with his Rebels, Lou. This made Queen of Heart a champion. Queen of Hearts went on to defeat 5 more opponents to earn her own title of Grand Champion. The longest fight Queen of Hearts ever saw was 34 minutes. She was campaigned between 37 to 39 pounds. By 1989 Abraham's Queen of Hearts and Rebel Kennel's Shady Lady both held their respective titles of Grand Champion. Both had been campaigned 37 and 37.5 pounds. Can anyone possibly imagine the battle that would have encouraged should these 2 great warrior females ever had met? There is no doubt that it would have been a classic for the history books, as great as the one between Rebel's Grand Champion Sandman and STP's Grand Champion Buck. One can only wonder and imagine what it might be like. However, there is no doubt that these dogs, all of them mentioned here, and the men behind them, gave to the world a true legacy of proven gameness and ability to be passed forward and preserved by future generations. Well, there you have it, folks, the story of Rebels GRCH Shady Lady 5XWPOR.